Ben McKee and Patrick Brown of Go Vols 24/7 here on Monday of Oklahoma week. We've got a top 15 matchup. I actually don't know what Oklahoma's ranked.
15.
15. So we do have a top 15 matchup. Tennessee moves up one spot to number 6 in the AP poll on Sunday, Monday here of Oklahoma week. Josh Heupel just spoke, Dominic Bailey, Miles Kitselman. A ton of conversation about Tennessee, Oklahoma, and a ton of conversation about Josh Heupel returning to Norman. And Patrick, you and I were talking before we press record here, and Josh Heupel more open about the Oklahoma questions today than I anticipated him being.
Yeah, it was his first question. He had a really good answer, and then he got another one. Was like, I thought I answered it. I thought I got it out of the way. But yeah. I mean, he had like a 5-minute post-game press conference the other night, and this one was about 15 minutes. So that tells you the difference in how big of a game this week is. But yeah, Heupel was really complimentary of his time at Oklahoma. Maybe expounded on some of the stuff he's maybe said more briefly in the past, just talking about how important that university was to getting him to where he is now, to getting him to this opportunity at Tennessee. Obviously, he played there as a quarterback, won them a national title, spent more than a decade there on the coaching staff for Bob Stoops. Was let go in 2014 and has worked his way back up from there. So he said he's never been in that stadium on that sideline, even back when he was a coach and they had scrimmages and practices there. So it'll be unique for him. He's going to see a lot of familiar faces, but I'm sure he's going to be determined to take his football team in there that he's built and leave there with a win.
Yeah, one familiar face will be the coach leading the other team on the home sideline, and that being Brent Venables, who Coach Heupel spent a lot of time with when he was at Oklahoma.
Yeah, Venables came there with Bob Stoops in '99. That's when Heupel was there, and Venables was there, I think, till 2011. So him and Heupel would have had a lot of crossover playing days, coaching days. Heupel was very grateful, as he expressed just a minute ago, just how much Venables meant to him as a young coach kind of coming up. Obviously, Venables is a defensive guy. He said that his defense, he's one of the best in the business in terms of having a good defense. Obviously, we saw what he did at Oklahoma. We saw what he did at Clemson as well. And they've got a pretty good defense over there now. The Sooners are a defensive first team at this point, I would say, still figuring some things out on offense. But that defense is very opportunistic. I think 10 takeaways through 3 games. They've needed that group to play really well to get those Houston and Tulane games over the line. But that's going to be a big challenge for Tennessee, the environment and the defense they're playing.
Absolutely, and you look at Nico in this football game, he's going to be one of the bigger storylines as well once you get past the Josh Heupel storyline. And, of course, the entire Tennessee team is going to have to deal with playing on the road this week, playing in the first road conference game of the season. It's one of the better college football environments in the sport. But to me, and I asked Josh Heupel about Nico going into this football game, he is kind of the one spearheading this team and how they handle this type of environment, because for him, it's his first true SEC road start.
Yeah, Heupel pointed to the game in Charlotte as a 50-50 game as a way for Nico and his team to prepare for playing on the road. It's going to be a whole different animal in Norman on Saturday night. Game day is going to be there. It's their first SEC game. I'm sure Oklahoma fans, passionate fan base, as Heupel said, I'm sure they have a feeling of confidence going into this new league, like, it'll be fine. So they're going to be geared up to get that, to win the game. But, Nico is a cool, calm, collected customer. We did see him come back from that interception against NC State and play well. He's got the demeanor, and Heupel kind of alluded to this a little bit, the demeanor to have that poise that you need on the road, a poise that Tennessee maybe hasn't had at times when they played on the road under this staff. So they've got him in there, and obviously he's going to handle the noise and the communication. The best way to avoid having to deal with the noise is play well. And Tennessee's able to start fast, take the crowd out of the game. And if they're able to just play the game and not the crowd, not the environment, they might have the better team and should get out there with a win.
Yeah, Miles Kitselman flat out said he's not worried about Nico at all because of the work that he puts in throughout the week to prepare. Lastly, I thought the last big storyline from Monday here of Oklahoma week was the talk of Tennessee's ability to utilize its depth, its various personnel, deep toolbox that it has, a very versatile personnel, and that allows them to do different things schematically. And Miles Kitselman said it was dangerous when you have a toolbox like Tennessee has, and you can go to different types of personnel and schematics, and that's really scary for a defense.
Yeah, defensively, when you're in the game, there's a lot of different things you have to worry about. You have to worry about stopping Tennessee's run game. You have to worry about the tight ends, particularly when they get in the red zone, given that tight ends have caught a touchdown in, I think, 5 straight games dating back to last season. You've got to worry about the receivers on the outside. It's tough to it's almost a pick your poison thing for a lot of defenses, and there's a lot of things you got to prepare for too. I think Tennessee's added a couple of things over the past couple games that Oklahoma's going to have to spend time on. We obviously talked about the 12 personnel quite a bit from the NC State game. That's something that Heupel said today. You know, they just playing two tight ends predominantly the past 3 years they've not been able to do. We saw a 4-wide set with Mike Matthews on the field against Kent State. He said last season they had, 6 scholarship receivers that they kind of trusted, and I think that was before a couple of them got hurt. So, you know, they just didn't have the numbers, but now they do. It gives you versatility, flexibility as a staff to do different things formationally, and it gives you different ways to, you know, set up matchups and get guys open and get guys in position to make plays. And yeah, it's, you know, for a great Oklahoma defense, there's a lot of things they're going to have to worry about because Tennessee's offense has a lot of different ways to move the ball and score points.
Big one this Saturday night in Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's first SEC conference game as members of the SEC, and a big step for this football team here in Knoxville as well. We'll have plenty of coverage of it all week long at GoVols247.com. He's Patrick Brown. I'm Ben McKee.